Howdy, y'all. Well, just got home from Godzilla X Kong, A New Empire, and I just wanted to give my thoughts on it while it's fresh in my head. Had me a salad from Papa Murphy's, because it's the last day of Lent, so alright, let's get right to it. So I'll start off by, so the first half of this video is going to be a spoiler-free review. I want to give my thoughts without spoiling anything for people who might be wanting to see it. And then the last half is going to be me going full fanboy over this movie and mentioning spoilers because I just love the movie that much. So, alright, let's get right to it. So for the spoiler-free portion, yeah, it is a really, really fun, non-stop monster mash of a movie. For people in the past who complained that the 2014 Godzilla movie didn't have enough monster action in it, I think you're going to be more than satisfied with this one, because, my goodness, this movie really doesn't bullcrap around when it comes to the plot. It gives you all you need to know just to get the story going, but man, I honestly think this movie holds a record for the most amount of monsters on the screen, or the most screen time for monsters, because, man, I would say like every scene, or like every other scene, there was a different, there was some kind of monster being shown, or at least being talked about. Like, I was amazed how much monsters, or I was amazed by how much screen time the monsters got in this. Like, it was incredible, and I really liked how the movie balanced out the stories. Like, it wasn't just a human story with the monsters built around it. Like, both the humans and the monsters had their own story going on. Like, Kong had his own story going on, the humans have their own story going on, Godzilla has his own story going on. So yeah, it's just every scene has something new and interesting going on, and if you go into a monster movie for the monsters, then you're going to be more than satisfied here. The human characters, obviously, I know there's people out there that like more than just monsters for the Godzilla movie. Like, why are you going to see a Godzilla movie anyway? But anyway, if you want more with the humans, I personally like the human characters. I think they serve their purpose. I got a lot of laughs out of them. I really liked the emotional story they were going for in it. I'm not going to spoil it for this portion, but yeah, I thought everything was very well, and I think everything was put together nice and smooth. You really can't ask for much more if you want a monster movie. As for nitpicks, I'll just call them nitpicks. They're really not anything that ruins the movie for me, per se. They were just little things I noticed that I was like, I might have done that a little differently, but yeah, the title of the movie is called Godzilla X Kong, like Godzilla gets top billing, but he's really kind of not even the B story, but the C story in this movie, which I don't mind. Godzilla rarely, if ever, is the main focus in a Godzilla movie. They're always building up to him, and which they did in this movie. They definitely took their time building him up for the final scene, but yeah, I just feel like it's been two movies in a row with Godzilla and Kong where Kong gets more focused than Godzilla, which I was kind of hoping Godzilla and Kong teamed up a lot more in this movie, but dagnabbit, we got what we got, and I can't be mad about that. I'm very satisfied. I got Godzilla and Kong teaming up, and yep, that's all I wanted. And as non-stop action as this movie is, I kind of felt like that was the one little teeny weeny flaw I had with it, where the movie really doesn't give you a whole lot of time to breathe. It's just it's just bam, 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 bam. It doesn't go too fast, I would say. They definitely do take their times in some scenes, but it really did feel a little fast-paced. Like, there was some ideas they had in here that were a little undercooked, but they serve their purpose. They give you what you pay for, so it's really not too much of a complaint. But yeah, it is one of those things where I think maybe an extra 5 or 10 minutes to this movie would have added a little more. But I'm not the editors. I'm satisfied with the product we got. All right, if you're a Godzilla fan, if you're a King Kong fan, if you're a monster movie fan, or if you're just looking for a fun movie to take the family to on Easter weekend, I definitely think this is a good time for everybody. You don't even have to be too big of a Godzilla fan or to like this movie. They have some little Easter eggs here and there for the big fans, but if you're a casual viewer, they really don't add to that. You're really not going to miss much. So, yeah, I'd say go see it. All right, so here comes the spoiler section. So if you want to go in blank, then this is your final warning. All right, 3, 2, 1. So yeah, you got Godzilla in this movie, you got King Kong, and in the trailers they showed the red ape whose name is Scar King. I kind of wish they came up with a better name for him than just Scar King, but you know what? He was a pretty cool villain, so I'm not gonna hold that against him. Yeah, like I really liked Scar King as a villain because it's rare when you have a monster villain in a monster movie that's as conniving and threatening and just he seemed really smart. He really had his ducks in a row and has this army of apes that he commands, or not so much command. Well, yeah, he commands them, and you can tell he forces them into doing his bidding. And yeah, he's definitely just a threatening presence that is a worthy opponent for both Godzilla and Kong. But there's also another monster that appears in this movie that I wasn't expecting. They create a new, like, this frozen, this giant ancient lizard that can freeze things, just spray frozen breath. And yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Like, you really don't really see, it's cool to see the MonsterVerse expanding its horizons and creating its own kaiju. Part of me would like to see more them borrowing more from the Toho library, because there are a lot of Toho monsters they can definitely choose from. But you know, they've shown they definitely upgraded since the Mutos in 2014. I really like these new monsters they're creating. I like their designs, and yeah, I honestly think they fit right into the Godzilla universe personally. And as for other monsters in this movie, you see a scene in Rome where Godzilla fights this giant spider crab-like thing. I thought that was gonna be a nice little reference to Kamakuris from the Toho movies, but no, he's just a unnamed little spider crab thing. But Godzilla disposes him fairly quickly. And I was a little. I love monster action and everything, but some of the monster fights in this movie, the ones with Godzilla mostly, they lasted like 30 seconds, like tops. They didn't last very long, but they fit in some action. Like they just showed Godzilla doing what he does and dominating everything. So I really can't complain. That's what he does. But what really made me not too bothered by the Rome fight was Godzilla literally sleeps in the Roman Coliseum and curls up like a cat. He's just sleeping in the Roman Coliseum like a cat. Oh, that was hilarious. I was laughing so hard at that. Yeah, that's another point. Like, I really like how this movie gave a lot of time for the monsters to have their own story and like tell a story in their own little way. They can communicate. Like Kong is like really wise and really smart. He like sets up traps that he hunts with. He shows he has a good heart when he meets the little Kong and takes care of him. The Scar King, like there were a lot of times where he smiled and had some good facial reactions, and I could tell exactly what he was thinking. And one of my favorite scenes was towards the end where Godzilla and Kong like share a smile to get like, God, that's awesome, man. Like, just have them get together already and raise Kong Jr. like a mother and father. Come on, do it, Warner Brothers. You know you want to. And as for another Godzilla fight, there was one where he fights this this Arctic lizard or this Arctic sea serpent like monster. I thought it would have been cool if they used Manda from the Toho movies for that, because I can definitely tell that's what they were going for with that monster design. He was a nice little throwback to Manda. But yeah, that was just another short fight where Godzilla dominates, but hey, that served its purpose, because it was time for Godzilla to hide in the Arctic and soak up the sun's radiation so he could go Super Saiyan. Yeah, you could pretty much say that. Godzilla was building up to go super duper lizard. And oh my god, like, just when you think you've seen all the monsters in this movie, it throws another one at you. Mothra appears in this movie. Freaking Mothra. Like, God, this movie was throwing almost everything at the, like, this is the biggest, like, monster match the Monsterverse has given us since King of the Monsters, and it sucks that a lot of people didn't like that movie. I really did, but yeah, I think this one definitely definitely brought back to that and made me feel the childhood glee seeing all these monsters on a big screen. That definitely satisfied my craving. So that's all I think that's all. It's definitely, I think I'd go as far as to say this is my favorite of the Monsterverse movies. They definitely have their formula down. They are getting better as they go along and learning more about these monsters, and we're learning more about the lore of these stories. And I honestly wouldn't mind seeing more of these. I definitely want to see one where Godzilla and Kong team up more, and where they become besties now, and we see more monster. If they keep making these, I'll keep seeing them. I definitely will. As a Godzilla fan, I'm just so happy to see more Godzilla movies coming out that I can see in theaters. But so I hope this movie makes a lot of money, and they do keep making them. But if they don't make another one, as for a satisfying ending, I say I'm satisfied. But my only nitpick was the ending for this movie. It just kind of stops abruptly. Like you think there's gonna, like, yeah, they were wrapping things up and everything, but you thought there was gonna be one final thing, like one final scene with the monsters or one final scene with the humans. But no, it's just like, oh, it's over. Okay. So yeah, it's definitely a drive-by monster mesh of a movie, but in all the best ways, I'd say. It's definitely a big budget B movie that's just made for fun. And at the end of the day, isn't that what we got? Isn't that what we watch monster movies for? To have fun? And that's what this movie is. It's a lot of frickin' fun. And I see nothing wrong with that. That it set out to do what it wanted to do, and it did it, and I'm satisfied as a Godzilla fan, as a movie fan, as a monster movie fan. It gave me everything I wanted, and I'm very satisfied with it. So, yeah, that's all my thoughts on it. Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. Go see it. I'll see you in the next video. As always, take care.